Slight danger of the sound dying out again today, but I don't have any of the batteries, so we'll work with it. That's right, the paper's sideways, which means I'm doing two faces again. Like, you know, some days you know it's going to be a lot of shading, a lot of hatching, and so you know it's going to take a long time. Some days, pretty sure it's not going to do that. So today we're dealing with the art of Aaron Williams, not sure how he pronounces it, the creator of Nodwick, which I think most people probably know him from. But I was mostly a fan of PS238, which was, and probably still is, I imagine it's still going. I mostly read these things during university, and then near the end of university I kind of ran out of money and didn't have the chance to buy any of the other books, and it kind of fell out, and then I was like years behind, so never picked them up again. But I have the first 4 issues of PS238 here to use as references for if I need specific things. And yeah, this is basically the style that we're going for. As you can see, the faces are quite realistic. Like, I would say that when I was drawing the faces in the first week of this whole month, this is essentially the style that I was trying to ape, even though I didn't have any references in front of me, because I've always liked this style of art. I've always thought this was like good, solid comic book art. You get like enough detail to see all the emotion on the faces, all the expression, you can see what's going on. But at the same time, like, they're defining the faces just in terms of, like, you know, this nose here is just this shape, and that's it. You don't need any shading. He's got a little extra line here, and that's it. You know, in many cases, he doesn't have to draw the whole outline of the eye. Like, if you look at this face here, it's just large pupil, single line. That's the eye. Only draws the underside of the eye if that is needed for an emotion, like here, or if the eye is like wide open. Only draws the front of the eye if the eye is turned sideways, so you need it in that situation. But always draws the top line of the eye. Always. Except in some cases when if the character is wearing glasses you don't see the eyes, but that's purely a Nodwick thing. I don't think there are any characters who have no eyes inside their glasses in PS238. So to start with today, I'm going to have another crack at Bill, because I feel really disappointed with how I did Bill yesterday, because I didn't have enough evidence of how Jim Davis draws beards. None of John's relatives or friends have beards. However, there are a few pretty prominent characters in PS238 with beards. You saw Herschel in the previous image that was down there. But there's also this character who I don't want to give too much away about him in case you ever read this, because it's quite a complicated story. But again, this character has a very straight beard, not a curly beard. There are, however, characters with curly hair. So my hope is that by combining how curly hair is depicted with how a full beard is depicted, we can somehow get a curly beard. That's the theory. Let's see if it pans out. So to initially start this, we'll start on this side today. I'm going to go for head shape first. You'll notice that quite a few of the characters in this, they have heads that are sort of slightly wider than they are tall. However, that's because they're children characters, and children do have wider heads. They're fairly well proportioned, the regular heads in PS238 and Nodwick for that matter. Although in Nodwick you do get these kind of a few extreme cases of the extra long nose, and Nodwick's almost his entire front of his face is nose. So I'm sort of just imagining like the shape of this chin underneath the beard and what that would look like. Cheeks a little further out than that. And I've drawn this as a really deep scoop, but it's not. It only really comes out that far, and then the rest is. Erasing this early can't be good. Right, so. If that's our eye line, we know that we have a nose that comes out here, mouth here. Beard is sort of this. So that comes down to there, but then the beard sort of takes over at this point. The moustache comes all the way down to it. And this comes right down to here. So we have like the outer curl there, down to here, sort of flattening out bottom, up to here and in. That's kind of the outline of our beard. Eye here. So, interesting thing to note, almost all of the characters in Nodwick, unless they are extending their eyes open, like if they're extra wide because they're surprised or in terror, they all have completely flat eyelids. All this art does. Actually, except this one. Maybe I'm reading too much from the couple of pictures I've taken. Okay, so it's kind of, it varies. Okay, well, that doesn't help us at all then. However, it is interesting to note that all the eyes have that kind of shape to them. If they're open like that. And if they're not in a sympathetic mood, they're open like that. But the place that you begin with these eyes is the pupils. So you start by drawing where the pupils will be, and then you add the additional detail on top. So Bill's nose has this sort of shape, like that. Very shallow curve there, down to that. That is Bill's nose. It's down here, there's kind of a cheek going on here. And then that sort of comes up that way. Arching eyebrows. And of course Bill has the glasses, which I got very wrong yesterday. Full disclosure, of course Jim Davis is famous enough that his cartoons have been made into television shows, and the way in which I drew Bill's glasses in yesterday's, do them a square first and round them off. The way that I drew Bill's glasses yesterday was my attempt to capture how I'd seen glasses on John Arbuckle's grandmother in the cartoon show. So there was actually a television cartoon show of Jim Davis's work, in which these brows are actually a lot higher than that, aren't they? They don't even touch the glasses. Let's call that that's sort of more like it, isn't it? Yeah, they don't come that high, the glasses. These will come round into a sort of bottom curve. And this spectre actually goes quite far over this way. It's sort of, the eye is actually kind of far this way. And this pupil should be here so that it's looking at the camera. Aha, see what we've done there? Genius. So the eyebrow does it, this one's kind of more curved, but this one definitely goes up first and then arches down. How are big eyebrows drawn in these books? It's sort of with PS238, of course. I mean, it's not trouble with the comic itself, but if you're using it as an art reference, very few of the characters are adults. Most of them are children. So you have to go to the pages which are about the teachers. See, in close-up, you can see this eyebrow here actually fully rendered. But for the most part, they're just lines. The eyebrows are just lines. So we're going to have to make a decision where that eyebrow is going to go, because it's going to just be a line. And this one is also going to just be a line. Sort of there. Now these glasses should stick out further than that, but it's kind of the limit. I mean, very few of the a couple of the characters do have thick-rimmed glasses. Yeah, okay, so if the style calls for it, he will render the thicker rims on glasses. That's good to know. So this is going to come down here and up like that. Make sure the glasses actually do line up at the bottom there. So Bill's tash has this kind of, there's a definite split right there under where the nostril ends. The nostril kind of comes down and that goes in there, doesn't it? There's definitely a sort of split in the moustache, which comes down to there, and you just see the bottom edge of the mouth before beard takes over again. Right back in there with the channel of the moustache. We have ear here. Very thin ear here, actually, like barely even visible. Beard overlaps it. And then hair comes over this. So hairline comes down here, kind of out here a bit. Few sprays this way. Yeah. Again, with the ears, you have a very simple style. It tends to just be this shape here. So that would be a lobe there and then coming up like that if the whole thing was visible, but of course we know it's not going to be visible because the hair is going to come in front of it, so you're really just going to see that. That is the maximum amount of ear that you're going to see. Right. Quite happy with how that looks. Got Bill looking like kind of a superhero character here. So let's leave that in pencils and come over for face 2. Because I have to do one face that I'm fairly happy with and one face that I'm probably not going to be happy with. And so I thought, what better than having another crack at one of the worst faces that I did, which was the face of myself eating. Yes, I bookmarked a couple of pages in particular because I wanted to get certain details. So, for example, where you draw an open mouth, it's very much no lips drawn except this sort of little bottom bit here where it's open, which you can actually make out quite clearly in this photograph. So that's going to be pretty easy to get. Again with the glasses, but these are going to be thin-rimmed glasses, so they're going to be more like the glasses on this image. Not round, but they're going to have single line frames. And lots of sculpting on the noses. That's why I draw the noses the way that I do, because I try and get the shape of the nose in properly. When I was doing the very minimalist noses on the you know, I'm just going to mark that with that because I'm going to want to go back to that soon. But I do want this image for reference. So face 2, start with the top of the head. And here we have the eye line. Again, looking at the... But here the mouth is open, so we have a kind of... it's almost like it never really... You know, here you have this little sort of notch inwards, and it's as evidenced here. So I do want to do a slight curve on those. I know it's not quite in style, but it fits Bill more. Here, there is no notch in on the head. It literally, it just keeps on going out from here. And you get this slight cheek and then down essentially all the way to underneath the center line of the face, where it curves under because the mouth is open. This is entirely because the mouth is open. So the center line of the face is kind of down this area. So if that's the center line, nose comes out to here. Is it about right? I feel like it should be almost higher actually. This nose just sort of comes... It's almost like a straight line. I look like... what's his name? Odo from Deep Space Nine. He's got this nose that just sort of continues up into the eye line there. So the shape of the nose that I have is like that, with the sort of the wider part back here. And there's like the subtlest hint of that nostril, but you can't really make it out. Now this mouth is very heavily leaned over to one side, so as you can see, if this is the edge of this eye, it comes into here. This is like, it's almost like those edges of the eyes. It's directly fits between because it's in an open kind of ooh, but it's not just an open ooh, because there's a kind of stretch to it, like this, where the mouth sort of like so. And this is but the mouths on Evan Williams' characters are all quite large, so I'm wondering if I need to make this wider somehow. if I could sort of open it out a bit higher, like this. And this is kind of it comes down like that, and then sort of scoops up like this. Yeah, because when he draws the sideways mouths, he quite frequently will draw an extra little bit of top lip just extending above. And actually, that barbarian face is probably the best example of this, how you can sort of see the top and bottom lips separately. So that would be separate like that, and this would come like so, allowing for this extra piece of lip just here. So I'm definitely looking at the viewer. My glasses, unlike Bill's, are quite wide and short frames. Let's get the width of that right. Actually, that one is short, isn't it? That is a wider frame because of the turn of the head. Just making sure the sound's still recording. I'm listening to a lakeshore sound today because I went out to try and listen to a lakeshore earlier, but it was absolutely freezing, so I wasn't there for very long. I was hoping to get some relaxation there. You know, sometimes it's nice to have a nice relaxing sound, but I wasn't there for very long at all to get a nice relaxation, because what actually happened was I got cold and had to leave. Right then, hairline. As you can see, the hair comes straight off this cheek here. You never really lose sight of it. It comes over here a bit, down in front of the eye here, back here, covers the ear, and then back to there. This is all back way over here, and then back to there. Now, I'm not going to be filling this hair in because even for characters with incredibly dark hair, you'll notice that the sort of the shading on the hair is not completely filled. You get this sort of dark area inside it. Is there an example of that in black and white? Yeah. He has this tendency to fill in sort of an inner edge to the hair, but leave the rest of it unshaded, and then fill it in with tone later, or with colour if it's a cover. So I'm going to try and do that. So this is sort of the forehead comes kind of down there, but the hair itself doesn't. The hair itself kind of comes out to here and down here. Okay. I feel like for artistic purposes this hair shouldn't go in front of the eye. It should just only come down to about here. Just because If it goes all the way over the eye, it's going to break how the facial expression looks. So I'm only going to bring it down to just above where the glasses are. In this case, the light is here for these eyes. In this case, the light is kind of central, but we're going to go for it. Now, see, depending on which comic you're going from, the pupils could be round or they could be tall. I think he follows the correct ruling of how you should do this. Ruling, as if it's a court of law. There's a rule on how you do pupils on eyes. Let's use this little bit of junk paper up here. So, if you imagine an eyeball like this, let's do that a bit harder. An eye on the front will be completely round. But if that pupil is on the side, it will be ovoid. So, characters who are looking straight at you have round pupils, which both of these have. Does he scoop out the pupils? No, you always get the full outline of the pupil. Okay, so don't have to worry about scoopage. I can do full outlines at first. Quite a low bridge on the glasses here. Right. Okay, I'm going to go to ink with this, at least to begin with, because I feel like there are some parts of these faces that I can just immediately cement and have correct, like this nose. Feels very right. I should have spent a bit more time looking at the beard. I'll not do the beard just yet. We know for a fact that these eyes are going to be exactly where they are. Get the inner frames of the glasses in. And the outers. Now, there's plenty of characters in these with curly hair, but there's very few characters with frizzy hair, which is what the beard essentially is represented as. You know, I'm going to leave that for now. I'm going to get in this ear. Or am I? I'm going to get in this edge of the face and this part of the head. And we know how to do this kind of hair because the hairline is always represented very solidly in these. So that's down to there, edge of the spectacles. Right then, let's get a bit of this ear in here. We know that we have hair coming down here as well, but this is sort of where the hair dies out on the ear. This has kind of... yeah. Right then. So with that in mind, I feel like this needs to come like that. We can pretty much continue in this line style the whole way over. There are a few sort of larger inflection points, but that's about it. And then we have the mouth is in there. And then this brow comes up and arches. This side comes down a lot lower. And this one starts off wide. Yeah. Happy with that. Let's start in phase 2 now. So I'm going to start with the nose on this, because I feel like that is a solid nose that I've drawn right there. And also the mouth, actually, I'm a lot happier with the mouth this time around. Let's get the eyes. Okay, spectacles next. There's my reference picture. You can actually make out just a little bit of the sides on here. And this actually does continue into here a little bit. Bit of side here. And you can actually see the line disappearing up behind the head. But let's get the head in first. So the chin comes back and in with a sort of cheek there. You can kind of see the line that goes back for the glasses there. So the ends of hair are drawn really interestingly. I didn't mention this earlier, but if you look at anywhere that hair ends, like if you look on the beard here, and also on characters with longer hair, you can sort of make out chunks of where hair ends, and it sort of has little cracks between it. So I feel like for this there should be sort of sections almost that kind of come like that, and the same kind of here. Right then, so I need to fill in the inside of the mouth. I'm going to experiment with something here. I'm going to use teeth. I'm going to add some teeth just in this area here. Because you can't see teeth in the original picture, but I feel like if the lighting was better, you would be able to see them. Maybe even a tongue. Right then, so to colour the hair, as I said, you don't do the whole thing. You kind of leave areas of it light near the edges. Same kind of here. I'm going to have a halo type effect here on the hair because I can, as seen here. You can see that there's a kind of a light line around the hair, and that'll come up kind of here. So for this part, it's sort of there. See, I've annoyingly done a curved line there where I shouldn't have done, so I have to bring that choppy bit right out. Now this probably looks really weird as a standalone bit of hair to colour in. And I said I wasn't going to turn the page anymore, but I figure a tilt like this, where I'm not sat down with a clipboard, I would ordinarily achieve by rotating my body slightly. And so this is just like the lower effort way of doing that. And then obviously if I was doing a full... Sound still recording? Yep. I'm a little bit worried about the battery on the sound today. Obviously I was doing a full rendering of this. I would then add some kind of tone or grayscale or maybe even colour on the hair to give it the appearance of lighter spots on darker hair. And I said there wasn't going to be a huge amount of colouring today, but there was obviously some. Because I picked two dark-haired characters. I feel good about how little pencil lining I did today. Not how little, because I did do, you know, a fair amount of guidelines and things, but I feel good about how light they all were. I never had to do that thing where I go over it 3 or 4 times, each time getting a little harder to assert that, no, this line is correct, the previous one was wrong. So I love doing physical art on actual paper as opposed to using a tablet. Firstly because I've no way of knowing whether where I'm putting my pen on a tablet is actually where I want it to go. It's very difficult to line the nib up on the screen and the tablet itself. But also because the friction that you get with a pen, the level of control that you get of sort of the timing and stuff, it feels a lot more more natural, a lot more instinctive. Done. You know, I'm super happy with that today. Actually, I say I'm done. I've not done the erasing yet. Let's not F it up with that. As I was saying, yeah, I like the physicality of using a pen. What I dislike is this. I don't know if you can even see it on here. That you get this kind of. I don't know how to stop that from happening. Maybe if I was using like a proper ink pen, or if I used a brush technique, or something, or I know that I once tried to use these proper graphic design pens that you would load in cartridges of specialist archive quality ink from a liquid reservoir. Basically what I'm saying is I was incredibly pretentious with my art supplies. I guess if I use something like that, I wouldn't get this weird overlapping thing. Well, maybe I would. Maybe it would just be darker. But I love that when I scan it, I can just, if I'm doing complete black and white, if I'm not doing any grayscales on it, what I can do is just take the image. I can run it through a contrast filter and take out all that variation. So it's just gravy, it's great, it just disappears. Now, things I've noticed, I haven't drawn my eyebrows on. That's not right, I've got to do that. So clearly this isn't done. Not filled in Bill's eyebrows, going to do that. That's not done. I was going to colour Bill's glasses in. Not sure I'm going to do that. Am I going to do that? Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to colour Bill's glasses because they are dark rimmed glasses. I feel like they deserve to be filled. It's funny how sometimes it's not until you take the pencils off that you realise something is missing. See what I did there? Added that little bit of shading. See, that holds it all together, that does. That's me being a genius. I am a genius on some levels. Let's fill those eyebrows in as well. No, that's not genius, that was daft. I should just fill the whole thing. And I don't just want to freehand it for this. I've done such a good job. I want to make sure that I get my eyebrows in the right place. So this eyebrow is here, the side of the nose is here, this eyebrow should come here. That does indeed disappear into the hair. So, and these are fairly flat brows as well, so we can just... yeah. Job's a good one. Take off the last couple of pencil lines just from doing the brows. Try desperately not to get ink on the rubber. And that is done. Maybe just a little bit more. Just there. There we go. That is a pretty good picture. Oh, let's ungrey them teeth. Too much pencil makes your teeth all grey. Really happy with that. It's a good day.